Hey everybody, Dan here with Pain Free You. Had a couple of people asking me about that micro meditation. So I'm going to do it towards the end of this video. And what I'll encourage you to do is if you like it in the beginning, just take it upon yourself that when you start watching a video, drop the shoulders, smile, hand on your heart, slow your breath, slow your thinking, take in the message, think about how you can implement these things. Breathe in the calm, exhale the chaos. So that's all it is. So today I wanted to talk about this topic. Symptoms are not your fault. Don't let others tell you that they are. So, happens a lot. I get people kind of in a frenzy. My partner said this is all my fault. My parents said this is all my fault. My kids say this is all my fault. And sometimes I say to myself, this is all my fault. So first of all, none of this is your fault. It's just where you ended up, right? It's just where you ended up. And so try not to take on the blame that others may dish upon us, because what do they know, right? They don't understand this. They're not in your shoes. So whose fault is it? Nobody's. It's where you ended up. Through the circumstances of your life, the various experiences that you've had, your brain learned to become a little bit more hypervigilant, hypersensitive. That's not your fault. It's life. And sometimes life isn't very fair, and things can happen. And we can get brains that are scared, and we get some medical diagnoses, mental health diagnoses. We start reading things on the internet. We go to bad neighborhoods, and we start combining all the things we're reading with our own lived experience and, interpreting how our symptoms feel and where they're coming from. And for a lot of us, we start to say, I shouldn't have responded the way I did earlier in life. I should have been stronger, less anxious, should have been more brave, whatever it may be. And we blame ourselves. And then the challenge is later on in life, as we're dealing with these symptoms and we're applying the concepts that I teach and many other mind-body coaches and teachers teach, our partners, family members, friends can start to get a little bit frustrated. Like, you're still doing that stuff? Doesn't seem to be working. You're still hurting, right? You must be doing it wrong. Or you mean your body's actually okay? So you're crazy? It's in your head? You're imagining this? The pain's not real? And then they start blaming us. And they start judging us for having this mind-body condition. What they don't realize is so many people around the globe have this. I don't know what the numbers are. It would be almost impossible to survey the world and see what percentage of people have this, because a lot of people have chronic pain, chronic ailments. How much of those are mind-body conditions? I don't know. But I would venture to guess that a big majority of them likely are, because symptoms are generally warnings from the brain when it perceives something bad is going on. Sometimes the bad is legitimate. There's a real illness, disease, fracture, break, sprain, impact, injury. And in many cases, it's not. And the perception is incorrect. And so try not to add more judgment upon yourself or allow others to cast their judgment upon you. And look, if somebody is saying this is your fault, you can say, shh, no, it's not. You have no idea. And they'll look at you like, what do you mean I've got no idea? This is your fault. No, it's not. It's an accumulation of our life's experience combined with a brain that's doing its job perfectly by turning on symptoms when it perceives danger. And so some people's brains are a little bit more protective due to our life's experiences. And so that's not your fault. It's just where you ended up. So be very clear. Do your best to notice when you're blaming yourself, being a harsh critic of yourself, blaming, shaming, judging yourself as not being good enough. I have these symptoms because I can't get a hold of the fear. And we tell ourselves these stories about ourselves. And the more we tell those stories, the more the brain believes that they're true. So if you're saying, I'm too anxious to get better, your brain's going to go, got it. All right, too anxious to get better. Let's keep the anxiety going. It's not that it's fun. It's not that it's preferred. It's just the dominant belief and the dominant thought is, I can't get better because X, Y, and Z. I'm not good enough. I'm too anxious, too fearful. The symptoms feel too real, whatever it may be. That's not your fault. That's just where you are. And so many people go through that journey once they learn about this stuff and they learn, okay, perceived danger, problem, safety, solution. Sure, it sounds simple, Dan, but how the heck do I do that? So, video a couple weeks ago, convey safety as many ways as possible. If you're having symptoms that flare up, or even if they're fairly constant. I put out a video about a week ago called the Flare Checklist, where I talk about a number of things that we can kind of evaluate and see what we're doing and what can be tweaked to get a better response. So if you're judging yourself, shaming yourself, blaming yourself, your brain perceives that as dangerous. So some people will say, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's dangerous. My life is pretty good. What's wrong? I must be doing something wrong. Ding, ding, ding. That's it. Because blaming yourself on not being better yet is perceived by the brain as an attack, danger, certainly not safety. So evaluate the areas in that flare checklist from several days back and see if you can determine, am I creating authentic safety, credible safety, credible evidence that I'm good? This is temporary. I'm on the right track. I'm going to get better. Just watch me. Or am I perpetuating the belief that I'm broken, I'm not good enough, I'm not capable of doing this, this is all my fault, so-and-so even said it was. And in some cases, even mental health and medical professionals will say, this is a mind-body thing, but there's nothing you can do about it. And it's likely your fault, so get used to it. And anybody who's saying this is your fault and there's no cure, or even just this is your fault, they don't get a say in the matter. You do. It's your brain, your body, your symptoms. This is your space. And nobody else has the right or authority to tell you that you're screwing up. Now look, sometimes some people can have good, constructive criticism, suggestions, which is great. But if it feels like an attack or blame, you don't have to accept that. You don't have to internalize that and say, yeah, it is my fault. Look, they sound logical. They're telling me all the reasons it's my fault. Yeah, I guess it is. Nope, it's where you ended up. So, do yourself a favor. Don't blame yourself. And do not accept the blame others may cast upon you that said your symptoms are your fault. You're screwed up. You're too anxious. You're too fearful. Why can't you just get it together? Why can't you just calm down? And when we look at our history, we say, all right, there's a lot of reasons why my brain is pretty hypervigilant. I had this medical experience, that real life experience, that trauma, and the brain goes onto high alert. We get symptoms, and then the symptoms consume us, and we become compelled to figure them out and figure out how to stop them. And in many cases, that being consumed by the symptoms perpetuates the fear and the danger that I'm in trouble. Look, I've got all these symptoms. I better solve that fast. So it's not your fault. It's where you ended up. But the great news is there's a path forward, and if you follow it, you can end your symptoms. And that's when you can kind of thumb your nose at the people around you and go, yeah, number one, told you it was a mind-body condition. Number two, told you I could do this. Look at me. I got my life back. I did that. No thanks to you. Right? And I'm not saying we get all spiteful and, get revenge or anything. But nothing shuts up the doubters like success. And that success is up to you. That's an inside job. That's for you to do. It'd be great if the people around you supported you and helped you out. But if they don't, get better anyway, despite them. And then they'll say, wow, you were right all along. And that feels really, really good. So, love you folks. Hope this helped. If you'd like to share it, please do. Send it to friends or family who might benefit by these words. If you're not a subscriber on YouTube, please hit the subscribe button. And don't forget that micro meditation. You can do that anywhere, anytime, even online at the grocery store or anywhere that you're starting to feel a little bit riled up. Trust. You can do this. All right, folks. Love you. See you tomorrow.